This video gives examples of process safety touches from a process first-line supervisor to a technician in the field and at the console. The first scenario is a poor quality technician LPSA in the field. The first-line supervisor identifies that the LPSA is inadequate.
Hi, how you doing?
Hi, good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. So tell me, what you're working on?
Well, the clean has been completed on this heat exchanger and I'm returning it to service.
Okay. So what kind of activities will this involve?
I'm going to start filling the tube side of the exchanger.
So tell me, what could go wrong with this activity?
Well, I'm going to be opening this valve here, so there's potential that I could hurt myself.
Okay. Can you elaborate more than just hurting yourself? What exactly could happen?
There's potential that I could hurt my back.
And what would that mean to you?
Potentially time off work.
There's a more personal consequence, which is that you won't be able to work and you won't be able to carry out normal activities outside of work, like spending time with friends and family or playing with your kids. So tell me, how are you going to prevent loss when opening the valve?
I'll stand here and open it using this wheel,
And how do you know you're doing this correctly to remain safe?
because it's the right way to open the valve.
What I'm getting at is, do you have the necessary training and knowledge for this task? Have you read the JLA?
No, I must admit I haven't read the JLA.
What I've observed is that you haven't thought through the middle A, the analyse step in the LPSA. I'd expect that you're familiar with the JLA risks and mitigations, or even better, have the JLA with you now. Our JLAs are developed by job experts where we have a risk or a history of loss and a reference to help keep us all safe. Can you make a commitment to me that you'll go out and print the JLA and read it?
Yes, I'll make sure I do that.
Thank you. I'll be coming back out later today to check you've done that.
This was a bad LPSA. Did not read or was not aware of the JLA. No personal consequence to what's the worst that can happen. The FLS identified LPSA inadequate and asked for commitment on improvements. This next scenario is a very good quality technician LPSA in the field.
Hi there. How you
Hi.
doing?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, very good. Good weekend?
Yes, lovely, thank you. How was yours?
It was great. Very nice, thanks.
Good.
So tell me, what are you working on?
Well, the clean has been completed on this heat exchanger, so I'm hoping to return it to service.
So what kind of activities will this involve?
Well, I have to firstly air free with nitrogen, and now I'm going to start backfilling with crude on the tube side, so I'll be opening the tube side and let gate valve here.
Okay, so tell me, what could go wrong with this activity?
When opening a valve, there's potential that I could hurt my hands with pinch points or potential to strain my back due to poor body position. Any personal injury of course would impact on my outside hobbies greatly. Our valve operations JLA that I've got here is a good reminder, so I'll make sure I read this before I start the job.
Great that you've covered personal safety in your LPSA, but how about process safety?
I'm using hydrocarbon hoses, which I will check to ensure that they're in date and they're structurally sound, but there could be a potential for a leak on the joint.
Okay, how about when assessing process safety, what's the worst that can happen?
There is a brittle fracture limit on the channel, so this risk could result in a potential failure.
And what would the consequence of the brittle fracture be?
It could be really serious. A brittle fracture would result in a catastrophic failure with a major loss of containment and a consequent fire, which could result in a Plevy scenario.
And how could that affect you? And how would it affect others working nearby?
It could leave me with life-altering burns and wounds. There are other maintenance teams working all around, and I would be responsible for what could be multiple fatalities, and this would of course change the lives of their friends and families.
Okay, so now we understand the personal consequence. How do you know you have the right knowledge to do this task safely?
Well, to analyse the task, I've ensured that the procedure lists out the safety critical steps associated, and they're all up to date, and I've got a copy down here.
Great. You have the procedure and you're working your way through that. Well done. What else can help you in the analyse step of your LPSA?
Well, I've been trained in brittle fracture, and the SLS recently carried out a brittle fracture OCVM with me.
Excellent. And how did the OCVM go?
Yes, overall it was really good, thank you. There were sadly some vessels I couldn't recall the exact pressures and temperature limits on, so I followed up to find out and let the SLS know.
Great. So when you're looking at the temperature and pressure on this exchanger, how are you going to go about it?
I've ensured I carry a temperature gun, and I've got one here. And I've also fitted a new pressure gauge so I can monitor and confirm adequate temperature has been achieved before signing off the safety critical step in the procedure and introducing the pressure.
Fantastic. So you've identified brittle fracture as the process safety risk, which has a very high potential and would significantly impact you and your family if it went wrong. You're using the safety critical procedure, and in addition to the training, you recently involved in an OCVM. You've got the pressure gauge and temperature gun ready to confirm you meet the requirements of the procedure. This was a brilliant LPSA. I'd like to share this touch with the rest of the team when we sit down together this afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
The good LPSA. The technician included process safety in LPSA. The LPSA had personal consequences in assess. JLA being used as a job aid and considered training and analyse. The FLS identified positives in summary and asked to share example with the rest of the team. This final scenario is a console LPSA touch where the first-line supervisor encourages a discussion on process safety. Notice how the FLS summarises the touch at the end, focusing on positives and asking for a commitment in improving where opportunities were identified.
Hi there.
Hi.
How are you getting on today?
Yeah, very well, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. So tell me what you're looking at right now.
Okay, well, I have the usual operations ongoing.
Okay. Can you talk me through your LPSA and what you're thinking about right now?
Okay, so I know about the ergonomics and the DSE for this.
So that's a little generic. Don't get me wrong, it's important, but how about your LPSA with regards to process safety? You've had the naphtha rundown to tankage alarm up. Can you talk me through that?
Yes, I had that alarm up earlier and I had a discussion with the offsites panel. It's because of the ambient temperatures with it being a hot day outside.
So tell me, what's the worst that can happen when that alarm's up?
We have a high temp to the naphtha tank, it's an SOE.
What's the process safety scenario that can occur as a result of that high temperature?
It can lead to an excessive vapour build-up in the floating roof tank and it could sink the roof.
And that can cause an incident?
Yes, it can lead to a tank roof fire.
Okay, so a tank roof fire is a serious incident, isn't it? How would you feel about being responsible for that?
I would feel really bad. I don't want to be responsible for something like that and have to risk the emergency services having to manage that fire. I have also seen videos of tank fires and the thick black smoke can create a plume miles long. I'd feel terrible if that happened.
Yes, it's something we want to absolutely make sure we avoid. So how do you know you're responding to this alarm correctly?
Well, I have a procedure listed here which has some of the troubleshooting actions that we would follow and the reasons and responses to the alarm on the console.
Good. And can you tell me what your action will be next?
Yes, I will call up the field operator to check all the rundown coolers are in service. I will also change the cut point on the tower to reduce the amount of material or even pull the feed rate altogether. But these can have an impact on product quality and our profitability. So the first action I will take is to call the field operator to check that the rundown coolers are all in service.
Great. So you know about how to correctly respond to the SOE through answering the middle A analysed questions, and you're making sure your actions are being carried out. The opportunity for improving your LPSA is when you're thinking about what's the worst that can happen. You still need to be thinking about the process safety scenarios when you're on the console and how they would affect you personally. Can I ask for your commitment to do that and think about that in your future LPSAs?
Yes, I will work on that.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to the next touch so I can see how you're getting on with personalising the consequences.
In this touch, the initial "what's the worst that can happen" is generic. The FLS encouraged process safety as topic for the touch. The FLS summarised focusing on positives and asking for a commitment on improvements. Carrying out a touch on your direct reports every work set tests their continuous risk assessment mindset and helps you develop their loss prevention behaviours. Make sure you identify the positives in their LPSA and use the development opportunities as something to check on as part of the next touch you carry out with them.